Hi, welcome back to Talking Insights, the podcast that's celebrating the most impactful and innovative work in the insights community. I'm your host, Antonio, and today we continue the celebration of the winners of the 2025 Esomar Awards. Today we're joined by Mary Kyriakidi and Jorge Alagon from Kantar, the winners of the Best Use of Data Award for their collaboration with Google, bridging the CMO-CFO divide, how Google and Kantar use data to redefine marketing's role in profitability. That's the name of the winning project, and to tell us all about it, here's Mary and Jorge. Congratulations and welcome to the show. Mary, Jorge, welcome to Talking Insight. Welcome to the show. And first and foremost, congrats on your awards, on the Esomar Awards.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes, and for having us too. Absolutely.
Your project won the Best Use of Data on the Esomar Awards, and it was with a collaboration with Google. And it's something like the bridging the CMO, CFO divides. Can you explain me what the project's all about? What was the spark behind it? And how did the collaboration with Google come about?
Right. Shall I? Jorge, shall I? So the spark was practical, but you see, it revealed a deeper industry challenge. Because what we've been seeing that is a disconnect, across the board, we've been seeing a disconnect. Marketing and finance are speaking different languages, and marketers often talk about reach, and rightfully so, engagement, reach, short-term KPI, and finance, on the other hand, they are focusing on profit, margin, long-term value. And when those conversations don't align, what we see is that marketing then is seen as a discretionary cost. And that means that it's the first budget to be cut when the economy is not in a splendid place. So what we did is we asked the question, what if marketing and finance spoke the same language? And this is the question that brought Google and Kantar together, because both of us are seeing the same pain points and we're asking the same question. Can we prove with data that brand building isn't just about moving units, but it is in fact about driving profits? And, the two businesses that are quite complementary, because we combined Google's modeling expertise and effectiveness agenda with our Kantar's brand equity and real-world category data. And the result was to revalidate pricing power, which is a metric that links brand equity to price elasticity and ultimately to profit. So we turned the conversation, or rather we reframed the conversation from, is marketing working, to how much profit is my brand strength adding. So if we're thinking about dashboards, what the CMOs and the CFOs are looking at, they're looking now at this single line on that dashboard, which is a shared language for making decisions that matter. But we've got to remember that the real breakthrough here is not that pricing power is another KPI. It's a mindset, it's a shift. And, for the entire business, ideally.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting. You were mentioning the divide, that division that you were mentioning about, like the marketing and the finance department. It's something that I hear all the time. Like all my friends, everyone that I know, in not only in like the market research industry, but like in all of industries, there's always that gap, that misunderstanding per se. And I feel like that's something that many companies do struggle with, that collaboration type of thing. Can you explain me or elaborate more on that gap and what it looks like and why it matters so much?
Yeah, I'll give you percentages, right? Because I'll explain why it's very real in a factual way. Because research shows that only 22% of the CMOs feel that their relationship with the CFO is actually truly collaborative. So it might be that, and it is true that both sides want growth, and that's undisputable, but they approach it from different angles. We see marketing focusing on building brands, customer relationships, long-term equity, and then obviously a finance department that is doing their job in the right way. They focus on accountability, profitability, and clear returns on every dollar that is being spent. Okay, so this gap shows up in the metrics that each side uses. So the finance teams, they factor in all the costs. They are looking at the bottom line, and then marketers are focusing on the incremental return from media or campaign spend. So that misalignment creates tension, okay? Slow decisions, reduced agility, and all that makes the marketing budgets more vulnerable. And, in a volatile environment like the one we're living in right now, this is a risk that possibly no businesses can afford. But it does matter, it does matter because companies that breach that divide, that gap that we are talking about, unlock 20 to 40% more financial upside. So when the CMOs and the CFOs share that dashboard that I mentioned before, when they agree on success metrics, when they meet regularly, they make faster, smarter decisions. It is about getting along, but it's not just about getting along. It's about making sure that marketing is seen as a strategic investment, not a cost, right? And what we aspire to do with this project is to see the two C-suite members moving in lockstep, because that's when the business is better equipped to navigate our uncertainty and effectively to drive long-term value.
Right.
And can I just jump in here? Because I think that an important piece of what Mary just said is that the job for us as the insights industry, right, is to speak also this language. So in a sense, we are asked to be, as someone puts it, ambidextrous. On one hand, we need to speak the marketing language, right, or the market research language, if you like, and also the finance language, and be able to translate or bridge between those. Because if we are going to help our CMO to speak with the CFO, we need to speak in the same language, right? Or in both languages at the same time, or or bridging them. And that basically is telling us, the insights industry, yes, we need to learn to speak more about that language of finance. Where is my money? That's what the CFO is asking. Where is my ROI? I have this money that I can put here or here or here, or just cash it, right? So just make sure that the money that we're putting into brand creation, maintenance, growth is actually delivering.
It's almost like a Google Translate for both departments.
Yes.
They can both understand themselves.
A Gemini Translate.
That's true. Yeah.
And speaking of that, I gotta ask, what's the role of technology in all of this, in connecting marketing and profits? Where does technology enters in all of it?
So for me, technology goes beyond just pure technology. It's also statistics, machine learning, AI, the tech side or the geek side of things, which I love. And the role is to be the bridge, right? As I was saying, that turns this ambition for growth from companies into actual accountability. I think that for years, as Mary mentioned, marketing impact was measured perhaps in reach or clicks or top of mind or consideration, right? This is useful, but not boardroom language. So today, with advanced analytics and AI-powered modeling can change that, because we are now able to more directly prove the connection between brand equity and hard financial outcomes like volume or pricing, resilience, margin, profit, right? And in a way that it's more near real time, right? And there and then. So think of it this way. Technology doesn't just crunch numbers. It translates marketing into a language that CFO understands. That's what we think, or that was the intent in this paper. No? It enables us to quantify how a stronger brand reduces price elasticity, right? So because, you have to increase volume, but you have to do it at the right price. And every time that you increase prices, because whatever needs to increase or decrease prices, your volume changes, right? So this relationship of price elasticity, which is complex, but very important, gets affected in a positive way by how people perceive your brand. And that's what we are doing, so how that elasticity drives revenue and how that revenue flows to the bottom line. So suddenly marketing isn't a cost, it's a lever for profitability. So that's the power of tech, statistics, market research, brand equity when it's applied with purpose.
It's interesting. As we were saying in the beginning, I feel like many companies are kind of still struggling to prove that or prove the marketing's financial value, as we were all talking about. Do you have any advice for people or marketeers or anyone that's listening that want to tackle this challenge?
Yes. I
Go
think
ahead.
that the main one would be, and we've discussed this on many occasions, Mary and I, is like, go beyond the dashboards, go beyond the numbers. This isn't about adding more charts or beautiful visualizations to it or adding more numbers. It's about changing the conversation, changing how we use these numbers. It's to make data speak the language of growth and profit. So you need strong numbers there, and I mean strong, like robust, validated numbers. But then you have to translate that. It's all about storytelling. That's what we've been here. But financial storytelling, right? In this case, in particular. So focus on metrics that matter to the C-suite. Link brand strength, link your brand power, your meaningful difference to financial outcomes. So not just campaigns, KPIs, or just peak consideration, as a metric. Go and say, these affects your volume, your actual price paid, your price elasticity, now and into the future. So which of these metrics are giving you an outlook of the likely future that you're going to have? Are you likely to grow or not? How much likely to grow are you because of where your equity is at the moment? The other would be collaborate early and often with finance into this process so that the models, numbers, dashboards, but your models answer their questions, not just yours. Especially us that lead market research tend to be arid in what we say. It's true, we need to speak that tech language, but go there and tell the story, not just the stats. It's not about significant testing. Sick testing is overrated. Something might be significant statistically, but be managerially insignificant. So it's like, what metrics matter and what change really matters, and then use stats to assess that. So show how insights translate into decisions.
Right.
Is this, we have data, now let's take decisions on those, and decisions that protect margin and unlock pricing power. That's what we're saying in this, so it's not only that, it's also about volume and penetration and stuff, but in this paper, it's about that,
Right.
So how to unlock this pricing power that you have. In short, don't just measure marketing effectiveness, prove its impact on the bottom line. As Tim Ambler years ago in a book called Marketing and the Bottom Line was saying, right? It's like how whatever we do translates into that. And when you do that, you give marketing a seat at the table where the biggest decisions are made. And when you give marketing, you're giving market research insights a seat at the table.
Yeah. I wanna. While you were talking, I was thinking about the impact of the study, the impact of the project on Kantar, on Google. How have you seen it improved the collaboration between the departments? How have you seen the impact of it on the companies? Do you have already any data or already any measurable impact that you see in both companies?
So my first study is, well, we're walking the talk, right? So we are actually paying more attention into our own pricing power, right? As in terms of equity. Now, what we were seeing is a lot more interest out there from marketers that are asking, show me the validation, show me the numbers. Can we do it for our category? So what we're gathering is even more cases to further find the right empirical generalization for this. But yeah, we're seeing a clear uptake of our metrics, our brand equity metrics, in particular the pricing power with our current clients, right? So that's what I can tell you. And we've seen people wanting to do a similar kind of case study or language like what we have in that, where we are analyzing how the margins and therefore the profitability gets affected with different COGS, cost of goods sold, when you have high margins, low margins, how pricing elasticity can, or a change in price, depending on your price elasticity, can affect that more immediately. Right? This is opening conversations that we weren't having before. Some of Kantar were, because we have an area that is focused on pricing research, right? Doing conjoint or market mix models or several approaches. But now this is broadening the conversation on the brand side, to include one of the P's that was not necessarily part of the usual conversations, because we're all comfortable talking about volume, market share, penetration. But what about price? And so this is coming more and more. So yes, it's early days. Certainly the award is helping us to amplify this message, and now this podcast, and hopefully we will have plenty more clients and practitioners asking about this. Right? Because we do share information with practitioners and academics.
And I feel like opening the conversation and being the start of the conversation is very important in these topics. Like, as you were saying, like, it's not one of those things that people think about every day or try to find a solution every day. So it's very interesting when these types of projects like yours just pops up, and when you create a study like this, because it'll start the conversation, you'll make more people engaging with it. And I feel like in the next months, years, we will see a better communication, a better collaboration between the two departments. So
Yes,
bravo for that. Congrats again on the award, and congrats for the project.
Thanks,
I think
Antonio.
it's a brilliant one.
We thank you very much. We look forward to the time when the CFOs ask, how is our pricing power trending? Can we make this like a line that is being talked about in the boardroom by the C-suite? That is success. But I can tell you that anecdotally, we hear from clients that you present this data, you make your case in the boardroom, and then gradually the C-suite gets more interested, not in sales, not just sales, but and how you increase the lifetime value. And then marketers themselves, they realize that they become more fluent in the CFO language, and the barriers, the silos between the two teams, marketing and finance, get broken down. It's a gradual process, but we've got to start from somewhere. And presenting pricing power and how it's trending and the data that supports why brand is so important is a critical first step.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's breaking the silos, and it's not something that you will do like from night to day, but it's a gradual thing, as you were saying. It's great. Mary, George, thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for the conversation. Congrats again on the award and the project. And thank you again.
Thank you very much, Anto.
All right.
Bye for now.
And that's all for today, folks. Talking Insights is a production of Research World and Esomar, bringing you the stories, voices, and ideas shaping the insights community around the world. If you'd like to be featured in a future episodes, share your story, or learn more about sponsoring opportunities, send us an email at podcast@esomar.org. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And join us next week for another great conversation. See ya.